Alright, welcome back. In this video we'll talk about congressional elections. Alright, so we start off, we're looking at congressional primary elections. These will be elections used to choose the party's candidate for who will run for Senate or for House. And they operate in a similar way of closed primaries, open primaries, and caucuses. So if a state has a closed primary, of course, only registered party members can participate in that. If it's an open primary, then citizens that are registered to vote can choose which party's primary they want to participate in. Again, they must choose, they can't do both. And some states that have caucuses, again, this is a meeting of party members in which they choose the party's candidate for the general election. So those three things, there's nothing really new there from the presidential side. Alright, so we have midterm elections. These occur in the middle of the president's term. So 2012, 2016, for example, those are presidential election years. 2014 is the midterm election. So this is a congressional election. Obviously, there can be state elections and local elections too. In this class, we really focus on federal stuff. So there are congressional elections every 2 years. The midterm elections are the ones that there isn't also a presidential election going on. Three things about midterm elections: the president's party almost always loses seats. That is by far the trend. There are a couple of small exceptions, and there are usually something that could explain that. Lower turnout than presidential elections, you can see in the graph below, although it was much higher than normal in 2018. But again, the typical trend is that voter turnout is lower in midterms than in presidential elections, and as a result of that, the electorate, meaning the people who vote, the electorate is typically more partisan. So the people who do show up and vote, these are usually people who are strongly Democratic or strongly Republican. So we end up with more ideological congressmen quite often. Alright, so when we have our election, we have an incumbent and we have a challenger. The incumbent is the person who currently holds office. The challenger is the one who doesn't but is seeking to win that office. If I told you nothing else about the two candidates except who's the incumbent and who's the challenger, that should tell you who's probably going to win. It will probably be the incumbent, because there is such a thing as an incumbency advantage, where incumbents very often win re-election. In fact, that number is usually over 90% of the time. Some elections, it's been as high as 99% of incumbents have won re-election. It is particularly strong in the House of Representatives. Alright, so we're going to go through some of the reasons that there is an incumbency advantage. Alright, and our first source of incumbency advantage is the term casework. Highlight this one, make sure you know what it is, because it's not what the word sounds like it means. It's nothing to do with courts or anything like that. It is service and assistance provided to constituents. Basically what this means, it's not really political, but it's ways that the office of the representative or senator is able to help the members of their district or the people who live in their state. So it could be something like a little old lady didn't receive her Social Security check this month. One of the things that she can do to rectify that problem is to call her representative's office, and they will get the ball rolling to help her get her Social Security check. Clearly that's an incumbency advantage, because they're able to do something positive for members of their district, and that will help them, or at least cause them to be more likely to vote for them. They have better name recognition and visibility. So ones who already hold office are more likely to be on TV shows, they're more likely to be on the news, to hold press conferences. They're better known by both the constituents and the media, and that helps, just knowing their name and seeing them. Incumbents also enjoy what's known as the franking privilege. This is where congressmen are allowed to send mail and they don't have to pay postage. So they can send these like mailers, essentially reminding their constituents of all the good things that he or she has done while they've been in office, and they can do that at no cost. Their challenger would have to pay for similar advertisements, so this again is another nice advantage. Contributions from PACs, political action committees. I know we're not familiar with them yet, but just go ahead and put it for now. But most PAC money goes to incumbents. Obviously, having an advantage fundraising will help the incumbent to win, and they do have a tremendous fundraising advantage usually. They also have gained campaigning experience because obviously they've done this before, so they maybe have learned some things that worked or didn't work. They also have larger staffs. This too can be an advantage when it comes to running a campaign. And redistricting. Districts are often drawn in such a way to favor incumbents. So we talk about gerrymandering. We have a lot of safe seats congressionally, and so this will help out the incumbent as well. All right, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button for me. This has been a Low Money production.